Hello everyone, this is part 11 of What If Naruto Was Trained by Anko, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video and to like and subscribe to see more, comment down below. Now let's start the Chapter 21. It did not take long for Naruto to lead the team to a spot. It was concealed and it was near the river. There were some fruit trees near the place as well. The team unloaded some of their things there and set up camp. Once the camp was set up, Sasuke quickly went on the hunt for a scroll. Annoyed, Naruto and Sakura followed him. As they searched, they could hear the screams of someone. Naruto looked towards Sakura and saw that she was not so bothered by the scream. "Well, you certainly toughen up, Sakura," Naruto said. "I can't afford to be jumpy." "It's like you said, Naruto, we can get killed in this forest if we're not careful," Sakura said. Naruto nodded as they continued to move through the forest. Naruto looked at something out of the corner of his eye and moved up to Sakura. He tapped her shoulder 3 times and Sakura shook her head. "Hold up guys, I have to go and pee," Naruto said. Sakura looked him and popped him in the head. "Don't tell me that. Don't you know how to be respectful in front of a lady?" Sakura exclaimed. "Show me a lady and I'll respect her," Naruto said and made his way out of sight. When he was gone, the other two waited. A few moments passed by and Naruto returned. "All right then, let's go and get that scroll." They nodded and Naruto walked past Sakura. As he closed in on Sasuke, he was suddenly caught in a chokehold. Sasuke looked at Sakura in shock as she choked Naruto out. Naruto tried to free himself, but Sakura would soon wrap her legs around his waist and drop to the ground. Naruto suddenly vanished and replaced was a genin from a Megakure. He tried to get free, but he just couldn't get Sakura to let him go. After a few moments, he was rendered unconscious. Sakura threw the amnin off her and took some deep breaths. Sasuke looked at Sakura with some demanding eyes, which made Sakura a little nervous. That's when Naruto returned with another amnin. He dropped the guy right next to him. He began to search for a scroll. That's when Sasuke finally had enough. "What the hell was this all about? How did you know that we were being followed?" Sasuke demanded. "Well, Naruto figured it out. He told me that if he tapped the left side of my shoulder that there was company near us," Sakura explained. Sasuke was angry at that and looked at Naruto with a glare. "Why didn't you tell me that?" he snarled. "I tried to, but you were so damn impatient, you blew me off," Naruto spat softly. He stopped searching and growled. "Neither one of these guys have the scroll. It must have been the third one," Naruto said. "So what are we going to do?" Sakura asked. "Let's tie these guys up and throw them in the river. It will really hinder their process," Naruto said as he created a goal. "Are you doing this just because?" Sakura asked with a tone. "Well, that too," Naruto said. He and Sakura tied the two up while Sasuke sat back and stewed. He did not like this. He did not like this at all. While he didn't like the fact that Naruto was just as skilled as him, he definitely didn't like that Sakura was improving. That chokehold that she did to that amnin was very well done. Also, she had enough strength to actually hold and choke out the guy. When did she start to take her career seriously? Who taught her that move? Was she and Naruto training together? It just frustrated him to no end. "Hey dumbass, snap out of it. We're heading back to camp to come up with another plan," Naruto said. "No," Sasuke said. "Excuse me?" Naruto asked him. "I said no. We aren't wasting time going back to the camp. We have to get another scroll and finish before everyone else," Sasuke stated. Naruto was about to argue, but Sasuke ignored him and jumped off. He looked at Sakura with his arms open and Sakura just sighed. The two turned and followed their teammate. Anko ate the last piece of dango off the stick. As she chewed in bliss, she threw the dango stick with ease and precision. It connected with a tree that had several more dango sticks. The recent one finished the Konoha symbol. She admired her work for a second before pulling out a small little book. It was his Iruka book. She was kind of bored and she decided to go and visit Iruka for a while. Maybe chase him around the village like she did a week ago. For a Chunin, he was pretty fast. Let's see, oh, he's a part of the crew that will be summoned when they reach the tower. That means that he's close by. Maybe I should say hello and give him a good groping, Anko said with a grin. Her happy thoughts were suddenly dashed by a Chunin. Anko-senpai, he called out. Anko growled and fixed him with a glare. This had better be good. I was just about to visit Iruka-kun, Anko said with a tone. You really need to see this. We have an emergency, the Chunin said. Anko was curious and followed the Chunin. When she arrived, there were 2 more Chunin and 3 dead bodies. She walked up to the bodies and looked at them carefully. She noticed that their faces were taken off. That raised some red flags because this was very familiar to her. Who are they? She asked. By the clothes and the symbol on their retaliate, we believe that these are the 3 Genin. One Chunin said and handed her the files. She looks at the files and saw that these Genin were from Kasagakure. The red flags were blowing in the wind. These Genin had entered the forest with the others. That's when she remembered and was greatly alarmed. Get to the Hokage fast. Tell him to send in 2 squads of the Ambu into the forest. I'm going in, Anko stated and prepared to enter the forest. Wait, what are we to tell the Hokage? Shouted a Chunin. Tell him that Orochimaru is here, Anko shouted back before jumping over the fence. Naruto groaned as he got to his feet. Whoever hit his team with that damn jutsu was going to get punched in the face. He looked around and tried to get his bearings. Whatever that jutsu was blew him a pretty good distance. That's when he heard the sound of something. He quickly pulled out 2 kunai and looked around him. He looked around for whatever was stalking him. He felt someone coming from behind and quickly lashed out with his kunai. It was knocked away and Naruto was quickly wrapped up. He looked up to see a large snake. He was surprised to see a snake this size. The reptile bore down on him and looked at him in the eye. Naruto looked right back at the snake and focused his chakra. The 2 stared at each other for a while before the large serpent released Naruto. He sighed and kept his gaze on the snake. He knew that this was no ordinary snake. It was a snake that was similar to Anko's familiar, Kaijin. Okay friend, take me to your summoner, Naruto said. He jumped on its back and the 2 slithered away. Sakura and Sasuke was wondering how they got in this situation. A few hours ago, they were arguing about Sasuke's attitude during this exam. She was in agreement with Naruto on this as Sasuke was angry about nothing. Because of this, Naruto demanded the scroll and Sakura agreed to it. He challenged the both of them to come and take the scroll from him, which not only surprised her but annoyed her. It made her question everything about her crush. That's when they were hit by a very strong wind. Lucky for her, Sakura was able to keep herself from being blown away like Sasuke. Naruto was not that lucky. When the wind died out, she was going to look for him when the 2 of them were confronted by a kunoichi. She challenged the 2 of them to a fight. Sasuke was ready for a fight and Sakura decided to back him. That's when they were hit with a killer amount of intent that froze the 2. They could each see their death if they faced this woman. Sasuke was the first to break out of the intent and grabbed her. He thought that he got away but he was wrong. The kunoichi chased them. Sakura attempted to confuse her with a few genjutsu but they were quickly dealt with. Sasuke attacked but it was out of fear. That's when the teenage summoned a snake to face them. Sasuke was so scared that he was about to give her their scroll. She was about to object to this when the kunoichi and her snake was hit by another snake. The kunoichi was surprised by the attack and was concerned. She was then struck from the blind side and sent flying off her snake. She quickly flipped out of her flight and landed on her feet. Sakura suddenly felt someone next to her. She turned to see Naruto. He suddenly tossed something to her. It was their scroll. Naruto looked at the kunoichi before them and slipped out 2 kunai. Sakura, you protect the scroll. Provide support if you can. Sasuke and I are going to have to deal with this kunoichi, Naruto said. Naruto, I think we should flee. This kunoichi, she on a different level. Sakura said. I can see that but she's going to just chase us down and kill us. Besides, this chick might have some answers and I'm going to get them. Naruto said and jumped away. Sakura looked on as Naruto appeared in front of the kunoichi. The kunoichi wiped her mouth before facing Naruto. That was quite a punch. She said. I believe I heard that you have some questions for me. I have a question of my own. How did you do that with my snake? Naruto looked at the two snakes who were wrestling each other. After a while they vanished in a puff of smoke. I'm not going to tell you Jack. Now, how in the hell did you get the Hebi, snake, contract? I know that there are only two people who have that summoning contract. One is Anko and the other is that bastard who hurt her, Naruto exclaimed. That brought a small smirk to the teen's face. So, Anko hasn't told him much about her past. By the looks of it, he figured some of it himself. Very well, I'll indulge him a little. She thought, you would be right, but do you believe that he wouldn't replace Anko? She was weak after all. It was why she was abandoned by him. I am much stronger than she is. Weak, huh? Fine, let's test that theory, Naruto said and charged at her. The kunoichi grinned and met his charge. Watching the two, Sakura was amazed at the courage that Naruto showed in front of a superior combatant. It boosted her confidence as well. She was about to go and help her teammate when she was stopped by Sasuke. Sasuke? Sakura asked. What are you thinking about? We need to give that woman the scroll. Give me the scroll, Sakura, before that doby get us all killed. Sasuke said. Sakura looked at Sasuke for a while, angering him. I said give me the scroll. That's when it happened. A loud crack was heard. Sasuke stepped back, stunned at what just happened. Sakura looked at Sasuke with narrowed eyes. I can't believe that the last Uchiha is such a coward. You aren't the Sasuke I fell for. You're a fake, you're not strong at all, Sakura shouted. She took off to help her teammate fight this kunoichi. Sasuke stood there and placed his hand to his cheek. It stung a lot. What was just said to him had stunned him, and to hear it from Sakura of all people was embarrassing. That's when he heard the voice of his brother. It was telling him how weak he was. It was telling him how he wasn't worth killing. He clenched his fists in anger. He snarled and turned toward the battle. He jumped toward the fighting, hoping to show them that he was not a coward. Chapter 22. The Kusa Kunoichi dodged another kunai slash and caught Naruto's other wrist when he tried to stab her in the kidneys. She tossed him, but he flipped in midair and landed on his feet. He dashed at the teenager with both his kunai. He attacked her with stabs and slashes that she dodged, parried or blocked. The two backed off to get some space and faced each other. She was not breathing hard, but Naruto was. He hated to admit it, but this teen was strong. That was very impressive. Did Anko teach you how to use kunai like that? My master always said that she was skilled with short blades. She said with a grin. You just like to hear yourself talk. Don't worry, I'm going to give you another hole to talk through. Naruto spat. Knowing that he couldn't match her up close, he decided to change up his strategy. He did a few seals and opened his mouth. Katen, Kyuden. Fire release, fire dragon bullet, Naruto shouted and spat a flame of fire at the kunoichi. She sailed over the attack and landed behind Naruto. She rushed to deal with him but was cut off by a kick from one of his clones. In midair, another clone hit her from above, stabbing her with two kunai. They hit the other branch with some force as the woman laid dead. The clone watched as she turned to mud. The clone was then dispelled by several shuriken from behind. Naruto summoned some more clones and charged at woman. They all dodged the barrage of shuriken and attacked. The teen fought the clones with some difficulty. She had a smile on her face as she did. So, she has showed him some of the Hebi, snake, style that I taught her. It doesn't really fit him, but he is using it well. Still, this is getting quite boring. She thought. That's when she smelt something like gas. That's when she saw the clones ignite explosive tags. The explosion was big and loud. Naruto hid behind a tree for safety as the explosion happened. As his clones fought the woman, he used the Katen, Kasumi Enbu no Jutsu, fire release, mist blaze dance technique. He was pretty sure that he got her with that one. Suddenly, he moved out of the way as some kunai nearly hit him. He rolled out of it and was suddenly kicked in the stomach by the woman. Naruto groaned but was able to get up and get into a stance. So, you still have some fight left in you. That was an interesting tactic. Do you have any more things to show me? She asked with a smile. Naruto growled at that smile and was thinking of ways to wipe it off her face. That's when something came at the woman. She didn't even look at the figure and just backhanded it. The figure turned out to be Sakura. Sakura, Naruto shouted. Naruto, get away, Sakura shouted. Naruto saw her make a seal and jumped away from the branch. Sakura then activated the Jutsu Shiki technique formula she managed to put on the woman. They both heard her scream as an explosion sent her flying to the ground below. Naruto watched the burning corpse drop to the ground. He turned his attention back to Sakura. He made his way over to her and saw that she was holding her cheek. He gave her a surprised look. Sakura, what was that? He asked in surprise. I've been studying that Fuinjutsu, sealing technique, that you told me about. I figured that if I learned how to do Jutsu Shiki it would be a help to the team. I didn't get to hold on to her for as long as I wanted to. Sakura explained. I don't think you have to worry. She's got to be dead now. Naruto said. How right you are, but she has been dead for quite a while. The two turned to see that the woman was still alive. Naruto jumped in the way of the blow meant for Sakura, but it was so powerful that both were sent flying. The two maneuvered in midair so that Sakura wouldn't get crushed. As the woman made a small move to end them, she dodged a barrage of kunai. The person landed and faced their attacker, Sasuke. Ah, so you were ready to fight, Sasuke-kun? The male voice asked. They suddenly opened their mouth and out of it came a tall man with extremely pale skin and waist-length black hair. He had a long face with pronounced cheekbones, golden eyes with slits in his pupils and purple markings around his eyes, a reference to his snake-like nature. He stood in front of Sasuke and waited. Sasuke growled and activated his eyes. This made the man smile. Ah, the Sharingan. I have been waiting to see its power. Sasuke quickly did some hand seals. Katen, Gokakyu no Jutsu. Fire release, great fireball technique, Sasuke shouted and spat a ball of fire at him. He jumped over it and engaged Sasuke in taijutsu. With the Sharingan activate, Sasuke was able to keep up with the man. When he sped up, Sasuke was still able to follow him. He jumped away and launched another fireball. Moving like a snake, the man appeared and struck Sasuke from behind. He attacked him in midair, but Sasuke was able to move and grab him. He placed 3 balls on his back and pushed off. The small explosion caught the man by surprise and stung him. Sasuke reached into his pouch and threw several shuriken at the man. They were off target, but the shuriken were attached to wires. The man noticed this and was shocked. The Sufushasen no Tachi, manipulating windmill triple blades, he thought in shock. Sasuke landed and pulled the wires, wrapping the man up and restraining him to the branch. He then did hand seal for another jutsu. Katen, Ruka no Jutsu. Fire release, dragon fire technique, Sasuke was surrounded by flames and they traveled up the wires. The man screamed as he was consumed by the flames. The power behind the jutsu destroyed the branch he was tied to and sent it falling to the ground. Sasuke dropped to his knees and was tired. Sakura appeared and looked at Sasuke. The boy just glared at her and Sakura just sighed at the attitude. That's when they were frozen by an unreal killer intent. A head appeared from behind and bit Sasuke in the neck. Sasuke screamed as a mark appeared on his body. Sakura couldn't move and watched with horror. Get away from him, you son of a bitch, Naruto roared. The head moved just in time to dodge Naruto's swipe. The pressure of the swipe, however, left 3 marks on his neck. Naruto landed and pushed off the tree and chased the head. Naruto hit the ground, creating a crater just as the head returned to their attacker. Naruto took off like a bullet and attacked the man with vigor. The man dodged all his attacks and saw the red in his eyes. So, she has been training the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Interesting. He continued to dodge, all the while doing something behind his back. Naruto brought his arm down, but the man vanished. Naruto was able to follow him and give chase, but the man was ready. Futon, Daitopper, wind release, great breakthrough, Orochimaru called out. Naruto was sent flying into a tree and hit it hard. Orochimaru was on him in seconds and lifted his mesh shirt. Gogyo Fuin, 5 elements seal. He then slammed his hand into his gut, flames on each of his fingers. Naruto roared in pain and began to feel weaker. The chakra of the Kyuubi receded and Naruto passed out. The man dropped Naruto to the ground. He looked at the blonde and considered giving him a special bite. However, he was interrupted by the girl. He moved away as Sakura stood protectively over him, while carrying Sasuke. Sakura looked at Naruto and then glared at the man in front of her. "What did you do to the both of them, you monster? Who are you?" Sakura demanded. "My name is Orochimaru." Sakura's eyes went wide and her knees began to shake. She couldn't believe that one of the Densetsu no Sannin, legendary 3 ninja, was actually here. She ignored her fear and stared him down. This amused the man some. "Do not worry, I will be retreating for now. I have already given my gift to young Sasuke. If he survives, he will come to me for more. You will watch over him now, he is very important to me." Orochimaru said and melted into one of the trees. Sakura released a breath that she was holding and wiped the sweat that appeared on her face. Why was the great Orochimaru after them? She put in the back of her mind for now. She needed to get her teammates to safety. Anko rushed through the trees and searched for Orochimaru. She didn't know why that man was here, but she didn't care. Today was the day that she ended him and got him back for his betrayal. He would not escape for her. That she swore. She jumped off another branch and searched. That's when she saw him, Orochimaru. She rocketed toward him, 2 kunai out. Orochimaru, she roared. The man turned around and smiled. "Ah, my dear Anko, how have you been?" he asked with ease. He then ducked her first strike and stepped back from her second strike. Anko threw the kunai, but he easily caught them and returned them to her. She dodged and got some more space. "That hurts my feelings, Anko. Aren't you happy to see your old sensei?" "Happy? I'll be happy once you're dead," Anko shouted. Orochimaru just smirked and charged at her. Anko jumped into the air and held her arm out. Senei Ajushu, hidden shadow snake hands, 4 snakes shot out and attacked. They bite into the man and held out. With amazing strength, Anko pulled him toward her and she punched him in the chest with senbon between her knuckles. This sent him into the branch hard. She then did a foot stomp on his chest that made him spit blood. She spun him again before slamming him into the tree. She ended her assault by stabbing him in the hand with a kunai. She then did one-handed seals, locking her and his hands together. Orochimaru saw this and was shocked. "This is the end. This is for Konoha," Anko roared. Sojusosai no Jutsu. Twin snakes mutual death technique. 2 snakes were summoned and they bit the both of them. Anko winced, but she knew that this was for the best. She might die, but she had taken this bastard with her. Still so impulsive, Anko. "Did you forget who showed you that jutsu?" Orochimaru's voice said from behind her. Anko was shocked and watched the Orochimaru in front of her smile before turning into mud. Anko cursed and dropped to her knees. What would poor Naruto think of his sister figure sacrificing herself, leaving him alone? Anko's eyes went wide. Finding the strength within her, she grabbed the kunai from the tree and rushed at him, roaring with rage. Orochimaru did a single seal and Anko suddenly felt unimaginable pain. She dropped to the ground, holding her shoulder. She tried to fight it, but she couldn't. "That will be enough. I was very surprised that you would be training the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. I must admit, you did a very good job with him. He impressed me enough that I considered giving him my gift that I gave you," Orochimaru said. "If you go near him again, I swear that I'll rip your fucking throat out," Anko snarled through the pain. Orochimaru laughed at her. "How delicious. Don't worry, Anko. I have no plans to use him. I have already gotten what I came for. Besides, there are worse people out there that want your dear Otouto, little brother, and you are nowhere strong enough to defeat them. Even I would be wary to get in their way," Orochimaru said. "Damn you," Anko snarled. "Do tell sensei not to cancel the exams. I would be most displeased if you do," he said and vanished from view. Anko laid on the tree branch, in pain and near death. She had enough energy to pull out a flare and launch it. After she did, she passed out, As she closed her eyes, she couldn't help but worry about Naruto. Sakura placed a cool rag on Sasuke's forehead before checking over him. It looked like he was okay, but she couldn't really tell. She then turned to Naruto, who was still out. Whatever that man did, knocked him out pretty good. Surprisingly, he was in the same boat as Sasuke as his injuries were healing. She always realized that Naruto seemed to recover faster than most people. She wondered why. She sighed and decided to get a little sleep. She kept a kunai on her person and positioning herself to keep an eye out. She knew that the forest had many enemies and she would have to be ready. It would be a lesson that would save her life when the morning came. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe, and see you guys later.